So good evening, everyone. We are now almost 80 participants are there. So welcome to all the members on behalf of managing committee and of course on behalf of the entire chapter. And Abhi, I was just talking with Alvin also. We are now, every day we are hearing the word compliance. But let me assure you one thing. Today's session is just not only about the compliance. It's something beyond compliance, I can say, or something like, turning compliance into the growth. And small practical incidents also happened with us, which I will share the later on. ICV, the country value program. So if I say in the as per the UAE economy, it's becoming a game changer. Now, to just give you a perspective, I think around, as per my knowledge, 7,500 companies are already ICV certified. And just couple of weeks back, we received one tender, one inquiry from the ADNOC Abu Dhabi, and they have asked us for that ICV certification. But fortunately, that time there was a main contractor in between us, so because of that, we skipped this process. But otherwise, any other government entities or any like just ADNOC examples I have given you increasingly require the strong ICV scores. Though that means it's just not about the following the rule book. It's about staying competitive in the market, especially when you are pitching it for the government entity. So that's what we are going to explore. It's
Taking
a
note
altogether it's a
extra.
very new topic. Uh, can you please, members, can you please keep yourself on the mute? Yeah. So today just we are going to explore how ICV can go beyond being just a requirement, and slowly the requirements is going to be like in Dubai also it's going to be mandatory very soon. So thanks to both our eminent speakers, Mr. Sabri Al Sadi, for taking out time from his busy schedule, and our very own CA Sandeep Kumar Nair as well. And special thanks to our EXCO member CA Vijay Bhai, so being instrumental for organizing this session. So I will not take much of the time straight away. We will start the session, but yes, before I will just would like to request our EXCO member Vijay Bhai to share his thoughts for this session. Vijay Bhai, over to you.
Thank you, Amit. And thank you, Jay, for organizing this session. Good evening, dear members. Actually, today we are here to discuss a subject that has become central to the UAE economics transformation, the in-country value program. While most of us are familiar with ICV as a compliance requirement, our session will go step further, because how do we take that processes, and what are the complexities and practical things involved in that processes, we will try to explore further. Today, to talk on those subject, actually, we have two eminent speakers, with us. One of the person is an economic advisor. He's a part of the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. And actually, I know him for last more than 5 years, working along with him on ICG projects. So he was being one of the strong pillar and backbone in developing this program. He is a person who's been instrumental in creating this program as such. And second speaker, we all know that Mr. Sandeep Nair. He is our own member, and who is actively involved for more than 5 years in different certification process for many of the companies as a representative of IVAS Constantins as a certifying body. To formally introduce Mr. Sabri Al Sadi, he's a senior leader with extensive experience in national programs and industrial development strategies. He has played a key role in shaping and driving UAE's in-country value initiatives, working closely with government and private stakeholders to ensure that ICV delivers not just compliance, but also real economic impact. His insights will help us to understand the policy objectives, the broader vision, and opportunities ICV unlocks for the business. And our second speaker, Mr. Sandeep Nair, who has been in UAE for more than 20 years, and he has been a founder of was Constantin. Sandeep specializes in ICV certification, business valuation, and corporate governance and advisory services. Under his leadership, IVAS has been one of the pioneer bodies for ICV certifications. And he talks about ICV framework not just for compliance, but for value creation and competitive advantage. His perspective will bring policy with practice, showing us how companies can maximize the benefits of ICV in real business scenarios. Together, Mr. Sabri and Sandeep will walk us through the ICV can become a powerful driver of growth, localization, and long-term competitiveness in UAE economy. So we, on behalf of the ICA Dubai chapter, we warmly welcome them. I think first speaker would be Mr. Sabri, and after Sabri's speech, Mr. Sandeep will follow the discussions.
Oh, thank you, Vijay Bhai. And with that, I also want to acknowledge the presence of our chairman, CA Jayaprakash Agarwal. I think right now he is driving, so I think he's not able to make the address. And of course, our committee member, CA Yuga as well. So without taking further much of the time, since the online sessions are just meant to be, for the knowledge sharing. So let's straight away go to our experts, and they are going to share the insight that will be help all of us, not only as a professional, but as a contributor to the UAE's larger economic vision. So, with that, over to you, Mr. Sabri.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that I'm very happy to be with you here this evening to talk about the national ICV program. Myself, I've been working with this program for the past 6 years since its initial launch back in ADNOC. And I'll give you a sort of a bird's eye view on, what is the overall vision of the National In-Country Value Program, why it's in place, and where we're headed. And then later on, perhaps Sandeep's going to get into the details as far as the ICV certification process, the formula, and so on. First of all, before we get into the national, ICV program, perhaps I can give you just a bit of an overview, a bird's eye view of what we do here at the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology, MOIAT. The ministry itself was established in 2020, and it aims to, just like was mentioned a little bit earlier, it aims to leverage the unique value proposition that we have here in the UAE by aligning the national strategy for industry and advanced technology, and the ultimate objective is to enhance the UAE's competitiveness and, just like was mentioned earlier, the resilience of the UAE as far as the economic diversification, with a target of contributing over 300 billion dirhams to the GDP and manufacturing value added by 2031. And you might have heard about this. It's often referred to in the media as Operation 300 billion. And we're making good progress. If you take a look at the latest report that was out, last week from the Federal Statistics and Competitiveness Center here in the UAE, you'll see that the fastest growing sector actually, or one of the fastest growing sectors here in the economy, is the manufacturing sector, contributing well over 7% to the real GDP. Now, an essential part of our strategy involves creating a favorable business environment for both local and international industrial investors within our industrial ecosystem. So this is the background of why the ICV program is in place. We've made good progress, and hopefully more progress will be made in the near future as far as the implementation of various incentives, one of which is the ICV program, which will complement the UAE supportive legislative framework. As you see here on the slide, the UAE's industrial strategy does focus on strengthening priority sectors, including food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals. We're looking at petrochemicals, heavy industries like aluminum and iron, electrical equipment and appliances. So the strategy positions the UAE at the forefront of emerging sectors, such as agri-tech, space, and renewable energy, including, hydrogen. The All of these initiatives essentially come together, strengthen the industrial sector, and drive the national progress towards a ecosystem that not only is going to attract industrial investors, but also supports the local manufacturers. And it does create better opportunities for growth, or we hope that it's going to create better opportunities for growth and enhancing the competitiveness in the UAE. As far as the ICV program, which again is aligned with the national strategy for industry and advanced technology, I believe some of you are probably familiar with the ICV program to a certain level. Some of you might be ICV certified, and some of you might work in ICV certifying bodies or part of companies that have an ICV certificate. Now, the ICV program itself is one of the leading programs that was launched by Moyat when we started. It aims to support the national economy and industrial ecosystem by redirecting the purchases of government and private sector entities to local economies who have obtained the ICV certificate in accordance with the established criteria that Sandeep will take you through in just a little bit. The program itself, like I said earlier, it is aligned with the wider national strategy for industry and advanced technology, which seeks to increase the industrial sector's contribution to GDP to 300 billion dirhams by 2031 through supporting companies producing goods and services in the UAE to strengthen the local supply chains. It is one of what is referred to as the projects of the 50, which is a series of social and economic projects that aim to accelerate the UAE's development and establish the UAE status as an ideal destination for talents and investors. The basic concept under the program is that suppliers or companies, sometimes we call the companies suppliers. We use suppliers and companies interchangeably, but essentially those entities, they become certified and then they are evaluated by our approved ICV certifying bodies based on their contribution to the country's economy. And essentially, by doing so, this is going to allow them to secure more work or be awarded more contracts from the strategic partners and the participating entities of the program. As far as the overall objectives of the program, they create new job opportunities for Emiratis, the local workforce, with adequate training and skills development. So it does have a positive impact to the local economy and will continue to do so in terms of providing new job opportunities for Emiratis, as well as increase the rate of Emiratization, which is one of the main goals of the government. It does diversify GDP and increase the industrial sector's contribution to the national GDP. And if you've read the most recent, like I said earlier, the most recent GDP reports that were put out earlier last week, you'll see that we are making good progress as far as the growth of the national or the non-oil GDP. And the share of non-oil GDP has increased to around 77%, which is a record high for the UAE here. Looking at the progress of the last couple of years, it's quite impressive. And thirdly, it does localize our industrial supply chains, which is obviously extremely important. And it does finally encourage industrial investments, especially for local suppliers that are developing fourth industrial revolution solutions and accelerating the integration of advanced technologies across the industrial value chain. So the National ICV program and the certification will help unlock great opportunities to help contribute to the UAE's rapid socio-economic development. as far as companies that ask what are the main benefits, what are the incentives for becoming an ICV certified companies? Well, the contractual advantages are obviously, with the participating entities and the government authorities are one of the main incentives or benefits of becoming ICV certified. So under the ICV program, one of the key benefits lies in the fact that contractual advantages established with our participating entities and government authorities, those agreements or the contracts, provide companies with favorable terms and conditions, including pricing, better payment schedules, better terms of engagement. So these advantageous contracts serve as, we hope, a catalyst for collaboration with the government entities, incentivizing businesses to participate in government initiatives and projects, and ultimately leading to mutually, beneficial partnerships between the private and public sectors. As far as entrepreneurs and SMEs, they will have greater opportunities for growth just by the fact that they're localizing their value chains. So the ICV program encourages the localization of value chains. It opens up significant growth opportunities for entrepreneurs, and small to medium sized enterprises, SMEs. By participating in the local production and supply chain, these businesses, they diversify their offerings. They have better access to larger markets. They benefit from better economies of scale. And this ultimately leads to increased revenue, better job creation, and overall better economic development. And hopefully it does foster a better ecosystem for emerging businesses, especially the SMEs. As far as the increased demand for local products and services, one of the fundamental outcomes of the ICV program is that there is going to be increased demand for locally produced goods and services. As government projects prioritize sourcing from local suppliers, especially the companies that hold the ICV certification, this will lead to a surge or increase in the demand for their offerings. Therefore, it's going to boost their sales, better revenues. This increase in demand not only is going to benefit the established businesses, but it's also going to encourage the emergence of new companies and creating a more robust and competitive local market. As far as the opportunity to promote local companies and introduce their products and the quality of the services to the market, the program does serve as a platform for local companies to showcase their capabilities and products to a wider audience. By actively participating in government projects and initiatives, these companies, they gain better visibility. They can highlight the quality of their products and services. And this promotion not only is going to boost their reputation, but also it does increase their credibility. Their customers, they'll have better, possibly attracting potential new customers, partners, possibly also new investors to their businesses. As far as competitive advantages such as financing incentives, the ICV program does offer various competitive advantages, including financing incentives. The local businesses can access preferential financing terms, grants, or subsidies to support their growth and expansion initiatives. These financial incentives, they're hopefully going to reduce their cost of capital and facilitate access to resources that might otherwise be very challenging for them to obtain. And this is going to create it's going to create a better business environment so that they can invest more in research development. They can invest more in infrastructure, build more capacity, and enhance their overall competitiveness and sustainability in the markets. So the ICV participating entities, sometimes we call them also the ICV strategic partners. The program itself, it has, grown remarkably. Like I mentioned earlier, when we started the program back at the local level in ADNOC, only in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Later on, it was expanded to, of course, the federal level, and implementation now is at the federal level across all of the UAE. The program was originally launched by ADNOC in the oil and gas sector, back in 2018, and it has continually expanded to include new participating entities, new strategic partners from various sectors of the economy. So the program has shown a consistent ability to adapt and meet the requirements of the economy. And this is really why it has resonated very well with the participating entities that you see on the slide here across the various sectors of the economy. And in order to ensure that the program is as effective and efficient as possible, the ICV certificate itself is a certificate that has been aligned and standardized across all of the participating entities. Okay, so the actual certificate, it is a standardized certification process. It's unified, and it is aligned across all of the participating entities. And of course, this is good for the suppliers and the companies. The companies now are only required to obtain one ICV certificate for the financial year that can be used with any one of the participating entities that you see on the screen. So this is obviously, good in terms of having a standardized strategy, a long-term strategy for all of the major partners here in the economy, and we hope that the list here of the participating entities is going to grow in the near future. Now, what I would like to note also here is that the certification is a standardized certification. It is only one certificate that can be used at any one of the entities that implements the program. On the other hand, in terms of the actual implementation or the implementation of the ICV certificate, it is unique in terms of how each one of the entities that you see here on the screen implements the certificate in its own business activities in accordance with its own procurement policy and procedure. So, for example, the federal entities, the contracts with the federal entities, for example, the ICV certificates might receive a certain weightage in the evaluation of the tender. So you'll have the commercial, you'll have the technical aspects of the evaluation, and then you'll have the ICV weight that is part of the evaluation. Other entities might implement the certification in other ways. Perhaps they're going to list the participants in the tender from the highest ICV to the lowest ICV. So the actual implementation of ICV might be different between each one of the entities that is currently participating in the program. Currently, we have over 30 participating entities. The number is around 35 participating entities. Last year was a record year in terms of the contract value that was redirected back to the local economy by those participating entities. We redirected over 110 billion dirhams back to the UAE economy. And just looking over some of the reports from the last few months, I can see that we are on track to hopefully substantially exceed those figures. The ICV certifying bodies, the audit firms and the accounting firms that currently participate in the program, we have around 25 certifying bodies at the moment. They all perform the same standardized procedure. They all use the same ICV system to issue the ICV certification. And they follow the agreed upon procedure standards that I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with, the international standards on related services that Sandy perhaps is going to get into a little bit more during his presentation. Now, under the national ICV program, we have what is referred to as the Product Offtake Initiative that was launched back in 2022. The purpose of the initiative, which is a very important initiative for us here at Moyat, is to leverage our strong network of strategic partners and participating entities that you saw on the previous slides to forecast the aggregate demand for products and services here in the UAE, mainly products. And by doing so, we can identify potential opportunities for product offtake and industrial investments in a structured and forward-looking way. Now, why is this important? Well, initiatives like the Product Offtake Initiative, they create a stronger bridge between supply and demand, between the investor capital and the market certainty. So instead of businesses manufacturing or producing in hope of one day finding a customer, the offtake framework ensures that they have potential buyers that are visible from the start, and this is obviously going to reduce the risk. It does align the incentives, and it does accelerate, we hope, the industrial developments. This year in 2025, if you attended the Make It in the Emirates forum that we have on an annual basis, you probably have heard that we've announced an additional 25 billion dirhams in offtake agreements. So this builds on the previous 143 billion dirhams worth of procurement opportunities, and it does bring the total value of products targeted for localization to more than 168 billion dirhams for the next few years. Now, it's not just a number, it's a long-term guarantee of demand. It's a better visibility, I should say, of demand that is going to strengthen the confidence of both domestic and international investors. For foreign investors in particular, this is going to represent a very attractive opportunity to optimize their risk profile and their cost of capital while strategically expanding their presence in the UAE. So essentially, the offtake agreements, they act as a demand magnet or a demand anchor. By securing the potential buyers in advance, the investors are going to be able to approach the lenders, with greater certainty, and the certainty. All of you, I should say, come from accounting and finance background. So better certainty, that translates into better financing conditions, lower interest rates, better repayment terms, and ultimately, the reduced cost of capital. When investors can point to confirmed offtake agreements, they transform that uncertainty into predictability. And this, not only does it improve their return on investments, but it also encourages a deeper and a more sustainable flow of capital into the UAE's industrial ecosystem. So, initiatives like the offtake initiative here, they do strengthen the industrial resilience here in the UAE by localizing production and linking it to the guaranteed demand. The UAE reduces its exposure to external supply shocks, global volatility, and at the same time, it does provide foreign investors with a better ecosystem or better environment where industrial policy, economic stability, and financing advantages, all of them intersect. Now, as far as the ICV certification process, I'm not going to get into too much into this here right now, because I believe Sandeep is going to be covering this a little bit later. But essentially, the process just starts with having the financial statements and the NAFIS registration in place, and then the ICV certificate is issued through the ICV platform. As far as the ICV formula is concerned, again, Sandeep will cover the formula in more details, but essentially we're looking at a few attributes. The criteria for evaluation is based on the cost of the expenses of the company, the cost of the company, their investments, their manpower as far as Emiratis and expats are concerned. And then we've introduced some bonuses here in the recent years. The formula, we've got two formulas. One is for the manufacturing entities and the other is for the service providers. And again, Sandeep will cover the differences in his presentation. As far as the registration on the ICV platform, the entire process is done through the ministry's portal. So is the application for the ICV certificates. That's all from my side. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take your questions during the session, or you can email us at icv@moyat.gov.ae. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sabri. And Vijay bhai, I think we can move to our next speaker. And the questions, we can take it at the last, or we want to take it now?
Amit, we can take it in the last, because now the calculation and the other technical part Sandeep is going to cover. So we can request Sandeep to start the presentation, and then
Sure.
We can take the questions together. Yeah.
It's all together at the end. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sandeep, can you share your screen and?
Yeah. Thank you. Good evening, respected members and professional colleagues. Thank you, Sabri sir, for taking the initial phase of the things. Yeah, is my slide visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, good evening. I'm CS Sandeep Nair, and today I will be taking you through the ICV in practice session designed not only to explain the ICV certification process, but more importantly, to understand how businesses can use it to optimize their score and the role which our fellow members are playing a very strategic role in this evolving field. I think this matter of ICV certification has been already covered by Sabri sir, but one point that I want to put across is the ICV certification. At the end of the day, ICV certification is the number or the contribution that a company or an entity provides to the UAE economy is in terms of a number we are arriving at. It's a measure of the business contribution to the UAE economy. The score is calculated based on the spending of certain criteria, which includes the spending on the local goods and services, investments, Emirati workforce development, expert payroll contribution, and investments, sustainability and innovation. Many businesses don't realize it's not about submitting the number. It's about positioning their business towards the growth. So ICV is a very imperative as far as in today's businesses are concerned in UAE for different type of projects. They need it essential now or later. It will come for sure. ICV certificate is authorized to be issued by a certifying body, and this entire program is governed under the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. With respect to the why part, I think why is it important? I think Sabri sir has already taken that. It's very important when we want to quote it for the tenders and to support the UAE vision. I will not including the evolution of ICV also. he has gone through in detail. ICV certification process. The process for ICV certification, we have to. This is mostly done in an ICV portal. Any entity can apply for an ICV certification. Mostly done by a UAE licensed entity apply for the ICV certification. Even foreign companies can apply for ICV certification. If they have a project in UAE, they can also apply for the ICV certification. But for them, the prior approval of the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology (MOIAT) is required. For the existing companies which is having a license in UAE, for the licenses, they can apply for the ICV certification. They have to go through the MOIAT approved certifying body based on the latest audited financial statement. So the audited financial statement is one of the key in respect of this ICV certification process. The validity of the ICV certificate is 14 months from the date of the audit report date. Okay, procedure as per the ICV portal has to be strictly followed. And ICV portal, what we need to do will be coming in the next slide. And registration of NAFIS platform is mandatory. NAFIS, as we all know, it's a job portal for Emiratis. So it's a mandatory requirement that if you want to obtain the ICV certification, it's a prerequisite that the company has to register in the NAFIS platform. The process of getting certified in the ICV platform, what is a company or an entity required to do? First of all, they have to do the registration of the entity. The authorized individual from the company has the authorized person, either he himself, the owners himself, or the manager. He can give the power of attorney to another person also. It's a letter for power of attorney which they can give, and based on that, based on the UAE pass, they can register in the system. The second step is to select a certifying body. It's a bidding process. The quotation happens and they agree for the code. After that, a draft template is created. That's a supplier template. The entire scoring mechanism, most of our members will be aware of it, but for general awareness, the scoring mechanism comes from a supplier template. So supplier template has to be completed from the company's side. Once the supplier template is completed and they submit to the certifying body performs certain agreed upon procedures under ISRS 4400 agreed upon procedures, and there are certain very specific procedures that the ministry has specified, which is more or less in kind of an audit that we have to do. The certifying body has to conduct on the supplier template. So once it is completed, then the certifying body reviews it and sends it for the supplier's confirmation, the client's confirmation, the entity's confirmation. Once the entity confirms it, then the endorsement process happens. And the endorsement process is after that, that's an electronic signature, both from the client side as well as the certifying body side. And after that, officially the certificate is issued. I will just take across through a ICV certification format, just for the common understanding of the team of the members. This is the end certificate that is being issued. It is a barcoded certificate, so it's a very highly protected and individualistic certificate that is there. So which comprise of the certificate number. It is having the issue date, the validity date, with respect to which we will be coming in the coming slide. The company name, what is the percentage the company is achieving, the license type, the company type, what is the financial year end date of the company, and company which is based within UAE, outside UAE, company business type. So based on that, the company is able to arrive at the ICV certification. Yeah, benefits of ICV certification, I think sir has already taken that, so I'm not going to dwell on it in a detailed manner. So understanding ICV is one of the steps that we will be doing right now. So with respect to this, any supplier, as I initially explained, who is required to, who needs to code for a project or requires to support a supplier, that means a sub-supplier who is required to, support a supplier is required to have an ICV certificate. So it is a program where, if the company is participating directly in a government tender, then they have to have this ICV certification. If they are supporting the client which is participating in the government tender, that that they also need an ICV certificate, because their ICV certificate is going to improve the score of their customer. So as mentioned, supplier, service provider, contract bidding for government, semi-government agencies, and sub-suppliers are the main parties requiring the ICV certification. The entities involved, which has also already been specified, there are majorly 4 entities which in this entire perspective which we can see. One is MOYAC for sure. Then there is a certifying body which is there. There is a strategic participating bodies which are there. That also has been taken by Servicer. And then there is a supplier or entity under the ICV certification. That is the client or the company who is doing the ICV certification. Strategic partners also has been taken. The strategic partners are keeping on adding on a day-by-day basis. A lot of companies are making a prerequisite that if you want to quote in their project, you should first prerequisite, you should have an ICV certification. So this is a prerequisite that is happening. Validity of the ICV certification. The validity of the ICV certification is 14 months, as I had explained earlier, from the date of the audit report date. So that is one major thing. And the basic requirement for an ICV certification is including 3 factors. One is there has to be a valid license. There has to be an audited financial statement, and there is a supplier template. Coming to the basic requirement key rules, which we have to dwell in a little bit detailed manner. The ICV certificate valid license is a mandatory thing. So each legal entity, based on the license, they have to apply for the ICV certification. The trade license is treated as an independent legal entity, even if the ownership is the same. Each trade license is treated as separate. So combined ICV concept is allowed under the ICV program if they are having the branches in the same emirate with the identical activity and ownership. That means it has to be identical, not similar. The word used is identical. So if your activities are identical and your ownership is the same, it's a part of the branch, then suppose there is a book outlet which are having different outlets in the, or the shop outlets which are having different outlets in the same emirate. In the same emirate, they have to take, they can combine the ICV and they can take the ICV. ICV combination between the different emirates is not allowed. That is, if you are one is in Dubai and one is in Abu Dhabi, that combination may not be allowed by the ministry. Ministry is having a lineal view in respect of certain cases where some activities are mentioned and there's some additional activity mentioned in the branch. So in that scenario, we have to send to the ministry for approval, and most probably the approval comes in respect of having a combined ICV. So this is with respect to the licensing part of it. Yes, as I explained, foreign entities can also have the ICV certification. Now coming to audited financial statement. Audited financial statement has to be as per IFRS. It has to be signed by a UAE-based auditor. Even for a foreign company, it has to be signed by a UAE-based auditor. In certain cases, in cases if it is not signed, then we have to send it to the ministry for approval, and ministry most probably has to give an approval in respect of that. So that is one part of it which I wanted to explain. Next is actually this financial statement has to have an unqualified opinion if we have to go for that is a clean opinion if we have to go for an ICV certification. If the audit report is having a modified opinion, or if it is having a emphasis of matter or other matters, any sort of a paragraph which is mentioned in the audit report is taken seriously by the ministry, and the ICV certifying body is required to submit it to the ministry and get their approval prior to proceeding with the ICV certification. ICV program is a very regulated program by the ministry side, and to ensure that the quality is kept at the top level and benefit is derived to the party who is deserving it. So this is that the rules are made in such a manner to ensure the same. So so in case there are 2 matters in which usually the approval may not be required. One is the emphasis of matter, in case there is a going concern matter which is related to the loss, that is accumulated loss that companies made, but the shareholders are confirmed that the going concern will be continued. The wordings has to be very simple wordings relating to this. Then you can proceed with the ICV certification. And second matter is actually if your auditor of the previous year, in other matters, if you mention that the previous year it was audited by another auditor, then that can be also taken as a matter for proceeding with the proceeding with the ICV certification. Apart from that, any other matter is that we have to go for this approval. Next part is actually this is one of the very critical change that has been brought in the ICV certification program. Starting from previously, there was a there was a availability there that combined ICV certification. That means the companies can have the consolidated ICV certificate or combined financial statement could be used for the purpose of ICV certification. This point has been removed from the ministry because it has been understood that the clients are using the consolidated financial statement or the combined financial statement as a tool to, there may be possibilities that the score may not be correctly captured. So starting from effective from 1st January 2025, ICV certificate for financial year ending any date apart after 31st December 2024, that if it is 31st March 2025, then you should have a standalone financial statement or standalone audited financial statement of that certifying entity. Whether it is a branch, whether it is a separate company, separate subsidiary company, you should have a separate audited financial statement. So this is a mandatory point that the ministry has brought across. Another point with respect to audited financial statement is the financial statement must be no longer than 2 years old from the certification year. We are in now 2025 up to 31st December 2023. 2023 we can use it for the purpose of ICV certification. Now coming to, so we have covered the valid license and audit financial statement. The next area is supplier template. The scoring mechanism entirely is captured to the supplier template. So supplier template details needs to be filled by the concerned client. The figures has to be has to be captured in terms of AED, and the suppliers are not. There is no provision for the suppliers to do any sort of a gross negligence or filling the details in a manner, wrong details or knowingly doing a fraud in respect of that, which is taken very seriously by the ministry, and it can have a probability impact of removal from the ICV program also. So since the ICV program is very critical for the business continuity and the growth of the entity, the clients has to be very careful when completing the supplier template. Another question in consideration is, can a new entity apply for an ICV certification? Yes, the new entities can apply for the ICV certification if they are less than 10 months old. For the 9 months management accounts, they can have the ICV certification done. So audited financial statement is not required for a new entity. They can use the management accounts. If they are less than 10 months old, they can have the management accounts of 9 months for the ICV certification purposes. Management accounts exceeding 9 months has to be audited. One change that the ministry has brought in the recent period is actually ministry is very particular that new entities are having all the expenditure which a new entity should have, including employees taken, and all the expenditures are recorded in the new entity prior to it applying for the ICV certification. So this one change has come. Yeah. So now we are entering the technical part of the ICV certification. So for the technical part, we need to understand the classification for the purpose of ICV, the classification which is there for the purpose of ICV in the ICV template. So here the term supplier refers to the entity which is applying for the ICV certification. So that the company who is applying for ICV certification are classified into two categories, broad terms, two categories. One is which is having a industrial license. Industrial license is termed as goods manufacturer, and one is which is not having an industrial license. So then it is termed as that means if you are having a commercial license or a professional license or a service license, you are in the term of service provider. Goods manufacturer, whether they are located in the mainland or whether they are located in the free zone, they are termed as within UAE for the purpose of supplier template. We will be going through the supplier template in detail in just a few minutes. And service provider, that is the next category. If you're located in the mainland, you are considered as within UAE. But if you're located in the free zone, investment credit is not allowed for the company. Investment credit is the fixed assets credit is not allowed, and the other criteria are allowed for those companies. So all attributes except investment are considered within UAE. This slide also has been shown by Sabri sir, but this is the most important slide which captures the scoring mechanism or the how the scoring is coming in respect of that. We can see that the elements in respect of this, you can be either a goods manufacturer or service provider. So for your procurement, the procurement portion, the spend that the company is doing with respect to its cost of sales, its administration cost, selling and distribution, all this cost actually forms a weightage of around 50% of the total value. Then we are having investment value as well as investment top up, which is forming 25% of the total value. We are having the Emirati workforce and expat workforce, which is again having a 25% of the total value. ICV bonus is there. Emirati workforce is having 15%, and expat workforce is having 10% of the ICV score. We are having an ICV bonus. The point is actually the criteria of this. This is entirely based on 2 or 3 major items in the audited financial statement. One is actually the expenditure that is there. The expenditure is covered in the areas of goods manufacture, the third party spend, the Emirati payroll expenses are the major area. With respect to the investment, that is the second area. One is expenditure, second is investment, and third is with respect to the revenue. Revenue also, that is the ICV bonus allowed. There is some criteria which needs to be satisfied, and ICV bonus is calculated based on export revenue, growth in the net book value of the investments, and headcount of Emirati staff. So based on that, 5% up to 5% bonus is allowed. And considering the importance of this sustainability and giving priority to the technology for advanced technology is considered as a part of goods manufacture. They need an ITTI certification and ISO or green labeling. They can also achieve a higher percentage of 6%. And for service provider, for ISO and sustainability policies and procedures, they can arrive at 3%. So to take it to a detailed manner, we will just go through a supplier template to understand. This is the typical format of a supplier template, which is actually required to be filled in by the concerned company who is looking for the ICV certification. So the name of the company, the license, the address detail, the contact person detail, the SME, whether it is an SME or non-SME under the UAE SME laws, it has to be defined. Yeah, and then this is actually the criteria where we had specified whether it is within UAE or outside UAE. So that part of it also we had covered. So only the service provider which is in a free zone considered as a part of outside UAE. So once it is done, then we are having the year and date of the company and the audited financial statement, auditor's report date. Auditor's report date is very relevant because the auditor's report date, 14 months validity is what we are achieving. The ICV score is valid for the 14 months. Companies' business in UAE are classified into 2 categories, as we had seen, that goods manufacturer as well as service provider. So if you are clicking goods manufacturer, then the goods manufacturer section becomes active. And if you are clicking service provider, via service provider section will be active and goods manufacturer section will become 0. So we will take it from the detailed analysis of the supplier template to understand. If we want to understand how we can score more or how we can optimize the score, we need to understand the detail or intricacies of the program in a little bit more detailed manner. So first of all, we will go through the advanced technology and sustainability bonus for the goods manufacturer. So there is this ITTI certification. There is the Industrial Technology and Transformation Index, which is if this is based on industrial for the manufacturers only, it is available. So if you are a industrial license, you have the availability of Industrial Technology Transformation Index and ISO certification and green industrial labeling. So this total of this will give a score of 6% to the client, depending upon what is the score of ITTI and what is the certification that is available for ISOs. So for that, we can see that this ITTI certification, that the technology, what is the technology used by the industrial sector and the readiness to the industry 4.0. This is done by a MOIAT approved certifying person, not the certifying body. It's a certifying body specially for the purpose of ITTI. Now, ITTI score, if it is ranging between 0 to 29.99%, there is no ICV score that is available for that. If it is 30 to 39.3% is available, 40 to 59.99, 4%, and 60 and above 5%. So if you are having a 60 and above score in your ITTI certification and certified by a MOIAT approved person who is a MOIAT approved company for the purpose of this, you can have a 5% score available for that. So that is one part. And then if you are having the green industrial label issued by the Environmental Agency of Abu Dhabi, which is active as of that date, or an ISO certification. ISO certification is actually 3 ISO certifications recognized for that purposes: 14,001, 14,046, and 50,001, all related to the sustainability and the environmental perspective. So any one of the certificate available for you, any one certificate will give you 1% score. So 6% score is the maximum score that we can get in respect of this area. The agreed upon procedure required for this advanced technology and sustainability include the ITTI reports, which has to be issued by the MOYAD, ISO certificate, and the license of the certifier. The license of the certifier is very relevant. We have to ensure that the person who is issuing the ISO certification is having the activity of issuance of ISO standardization certificate in his license. Then the copy of green industrial labeling certificate from the Abu Dhabi Environmental Department. So either of this thing, if you're having ISO or green labeling, you get 1%. Either one of certificate, and ITTA can give you a score of to 5%. Now, for the sustainability point of perspective for service provider, the sustainability is classified also into two categories. You can get up to 2%. Each one will give you 0.5% if you are having the sustainability policies and procedure. For this, you should have a sustainability strategy governance, material circularity, wastewater management policies, and emission management policies. So the ministry is considering the perspective that there has to be a policy, there has to be a procedure with respect to each factor regarding wastewater management, how the travel emission for the service provider or commercial license is taken into consideration. And this factor, this policy and procedure is communicated to the team members, that is the employees of the company, and there are regular KPIs or monitoring done to ensure that the sustainability is in action. So to support the sustainability factor, this change has this scoring pattern has been brought into picture, where a company, a service provider, can gain maximum up to 2% if he is complying with all this implementation process of the sustainability. With respect to the other part, that is the ISO part. ISO, we 1%. Any one of the certification you are doing, you will get 1% point on that. So that's what is 2% is there, suppliers holding. The agreed upon procedure that the certifying body or this is what I already specified, sustainability policy has to be there. It has to be communicated and KPI report has to be there, then ISO certification part of it. So this is the only matter, this is the only case where, apart from the audited financial statement, if the company is having, based on its technology, based on its support to the environmental factors, they are getting some score, additional score from their existing score. The other all factors are governed in terms of the audited financial statement. So coming to the other part, revenue. Now, revenue of the company is very revenue of the company gives the company, as we had specified earlier, there is a provision of around 5% bonus is available if it is a goods manufacturer or if it's exporting. Certain criteria are there. Supplier must report the revenue into certain category. It has to have the UAE based revenue and the outside UAE customer revenue. Revenue from free zone companies don't have a benefit with respect to commercial license. They are treated as they are selling to the UAE customers only. For outside UAE customer, a supplier must provide re-export. If it is not making any value addition in respect of the goods, then it's a condition is considered as a re-export. For a goods manufacturer, for the goods which are sold outside UAE, or a service provider in the mainland who is providing services outside UAE, the export benefit is available. It must be supported for a goods manufacturer, for the goods which are exported, it must be supported with a certificate of origin. The certificate of origin should mention UAE, all the custom documents should mention the country of origin as UAE. And the second criteria which we can take into consideration for the export benefit. This export benefit is very important for revenue because around 5% of the score is we can gain up to bonus of 5% in this. So payment must be received in the UAE bank account within the ICV certification date. That means for the revenue which is for the year 31st December 2024, we should receive the payment by the time of the ICV certification is done. Certain exclusion has been specifically mentioned is actually the if it is just a settlement happening between the related parties, that is not allowed, and trading or commission earnings between agency, that is also not allowed. So listing of revenue has to be there. Invoice copies has to be there, as explained here. Certificate of origin copy, customs document should be there, and remittance proof should be there. So this is the agreed upon procedure that the certifying body is required to do. So if we are having, if we don't have any other revenue, we are only having export revenue, we will get a 5% bonus in respect of the thing that is there. This bonus is not only related to the revenue, it is related to different other two areas also. That means the Emirati headcount is also a contributor for a, if you are having the increase in the Emirati headcount to support the Emirati personnel to have their entry in the private sector, this point has been brought into picture. And then the investment growth, that is the differential between the, what is the growth of investment that you are having. Based on that also, a bonus has been allowed. So this is with respect to revenue. Now we come to the term investment. Investment includes property, plant and equipment, investment property, capital work in progress, and software. The investment in subsidiaries, goodwill, those investments are not considered as part of investment. So only plant and equipment, investment property, capital work in progress, software are considered as a part of the investment. So the company, the moment it is having some investment in the company and they're part of the mainland, they get a 10% score in the investment credit. And then depending upon the amount of investment they are having in the UAE, net book value of the investment as at the reporting date, if they are having an amount from 5 million to 50 million, 5% progressive percentage is received, 51 million to 100 million, again 5% progressive, and 101 million to 150 million, again 5% progressive score is obtained. That means if the net book value as of that date is around 155 million, then you are eligible to get 10 plus 15, 25% score in respect of the investment. As a certifying body, the steps that has been taken from our side is actually we are required to check the fixed assets register. The cases where if the investment is not owned by the company and it is owned by in the name of the shareholder, which a common sometimes happen, vehicle is in the name of the shareholder, those things are not included as a part of the investment. The document of ownership has to be there in the name of the company, and invoices of the addition are checked on a sample basis. So investment growth, if there is a investment growth is from the previous year. If the investment is doubled, the net book value of the investment is doubled, then 5% bonus is also received for the same. Now coming to the terminology of emiratization, manpower emiratization is also relevant. Yeah. So emiratization, the salary and benefit paid to the Emiratis up to 200,000, 2% of the score is allowed. So non-WPS payment to Emirati staff is restricted. So the point here is actually whether it is an expat population or whether Emirati population is there, the salary payment has to be insisted that it has to go to the wage protection system. The WPS has to be insisted on that. This another point that has been brought in picture is actually donation donation to Sanduk Al Watan or government university or MAN. Minimum amount of donation has to be 120,000. So if you are having a 120,000 investment, 120,000 investment, then 2% score you are able to get. Salary of the Emirati owners is allowed in respect of emiratization. Yes. Salary of the Emirati owners is also allowed as a part of the WPS. So if it is paid to WPS, and up to 200,000 per owner is allowed for the computation of the ICV score. So the point is actually here in respect of emiratization, 100% of the amount that is paid to the Emiratis is considered as a part of ICV value. So ICV value is very important because ICV value divided by the total value gives the score of the company. So these factors are very important. And headcount of the Emirati staff, 0.05% per employee is considered in bonus. So for the perspective from the certifying body side, we have to get the license, the employees listing from the concerned Mohre. We have to check the WPS for certain months. We are checking the payroll proof to understand that the 3 month salaries are paid, and work contracts, work permit, Emirates ID, all these things we are checking as a part of the allowing the score for Emiratization. The notable point in this is actually, even if you are having a single staff and your salary is single Emirati staff and your salary is less than 200,000 also, you get a 2% point in respect of this. Coming to expat population is also considered as a part of ICV score. Expat population is salary benefit paid to expat population through WPS is given salary and benefit payment to expat population via WPS. Non-WPS benefits, that means if it is paid, like gratuity, things like that are paid, which is not paid to WPS, is restricted to 10% of WPS. So this actually 60% weightage cost has been allocated to that. This template is inbuilt to capture the ICV value based on this. So for the Emirati personal salary, it is 100%, and for this expat population, it is 60%. Expat population, the number of person is the criteria for allowing the ICV percentage. So number of persons is actually, if you are having about 200 person you are having, you get a 10% score in respect of that, in respect of the ICV template. If you are having up to 200, then 200 is the number, the 9% score you get in respect of the ICV. So we should get the employee licensing from the licensing authority. We are checking the WPS SIP file, payroll contract, same scenario which we are doing for the expat Emirati team members. We are doing the same steps with respect to this in expat. So this is one aspect that is there. Now coming to the most important slide of which is having around 50% of the total value is the third party spend or the goods manufacturing. So this third party spend or goods manufacturing depends upon the type of the license we are having. So goods manufacturing, as we can see, the goods manufacturing is having the total cost which is recorded. As we have covered the area of revenue, we have covered the area of investment, we have covered the aspect of payroll cost. Now the other cost of the company, which has to be reconciled with the total audited financial statement of the company, has to be recorded in either of this goods manufacture or a third party spend. For a commercial license or a service license, the third party spend is applicable, for which for which the normal percentage, normal procurement, which we are doing is in respect of that, any material that we are purchasing for trading and things like that. If we don't have an ICV certificate of the vendor, 10% of the amount that we are considering is only considered as the ICV value. So this ICV value is a very important criteria to arrive at the score in respect of the summary score that we are having in respect of the TPS or the third party spend. So we have to have the so what happens is, if there's a rental payment in respect of property, rental payment is allowed 80% credit. 80% of the amount is considered as ICV value. For the fuel of ADNOC, or you can, if ICV certification is available for that, the ICV value is taken into consideration. The water, electricity 80%, telecom provider Etisalat, we have to take the ICV certificate of the Etisalat to the score. UAE government charges, if the whatever amount is paid to the UAE government directly or the free zone authority, government of free zone authority, 100% is allowed in respect of that. Local farmers, if there is a purchase from the local farmers that is there, 80% is allowed. Ministry has taken a lenient view in respect of that. If we are having procurement from them, we have to we can take up to 80% score we can take. Depreciation and amortization is an area where you can take up to 100% of the ICV score you can consider. And procurement of the certified vendor, if you are having an ICV certified vendor, then ICV of the certifying vendor, whichever is higher than the standard score can be considered. For a service provider, the score that is considered, if you're buying from a mainland, is only 10%. 10% is only allowed. And for if you're buying from a free zone company, then there is 0% allowed. So the capturing of the cost, the entity should be able to bifurcate their expenses into the supplier-wise expenses regarding the cost of consumption with respect to each supplier. And if cost of consumption is not available, then the purchase cost can be recorded. Purchase from each vendor can be recorded, and the moment of opening and closing stock has to be recorded. which has to be divided in terms of inside UAE and outside UAE cost. So goods manufacturing, you can see that actually the allowance of goods manufacturing is done in such a manner that if you are buying from a goods manufacturer, you are having 100% credit allowed for that. That means if you're buying a material purchase, a goods manufacturer buying from another goods manufacturer is getting 100% ICV score for the purchase that he is making. So, and a goods manufacturer who is buying from a service provider, he will be having 50%, default 50% he will be getting. In the third party spend, it was, in the third party spend for a commercial license, it was 10%, but here it is around 50% you can take the score, the ICV value comes into picture. So any ICV certificate which is more than this 50% only becomes interesting to be considered for the service provider. Yeah, so internal cost, there's only one internal cost allowed by the ministry. Only depreciation is allowed in respect of this. Yeah, and what is the third party spend? The outside UAE. If the amounts we are not able to bifurcate supplier wise, it is considered as a part of outside UAE cost. At the end of the day, this procurement, purchases as well as third party spend has to match up with the audited financial statement third party spend, which is a prerequisite. So thereby, after completing this thing, we are arriving at the ICV score of the company. The ICV score is valid for certain the period of 14 months from the audit report date. Now coming to certain ICV in practice, some real life scenario. What happens is for a trading company who is usually importing the goods, if there is only importing happening in respect of there are companies who are actually buying from outside UAE, and they are importing the goods, and maybe the product is not even coming in UAE and is going the outside. So import, so those purchases from outside UAE, which is considered as a 0%, because imports are taken as 0%. So it will be having automatically a low ICV. One of the main purpose of ICV, as explained by Mr. Sabri, is actually there has to be a localization of the localization of the products and services. So it is one of the purposes actually the trading company has to look the similar product or the same type of product, whether it is available in the main UAE market. So that will help them to improve the ICV score of that company. They can improve by sourcing in the UAE-based supplier. So these are some of the practical, real life which we also face in our scenarios where, if it is import is there, then there is a probability for a trading company, the score is tend to be lower because they are having the different sheet for the purpose of computation of procurement. Manufacturers usually tend to have a higher score. Manufacturer, if he is buying from another manufacturer, then definitely the score tends to be higher. If he is buying from the manufacturer, he gets 100% credit on that. Another point which the example is actually UAE made steel instead of importing. Instead of importing, he can buy from UAE itself. So he will be able to benefit out of the benefit in the ICV score he can get. Service providers, for example, there are service providers, they have to exclude dealing with directly only with individuals or freelancers, and they have to enter into contract with the company, because if there is a freelancer not able to provide any invoice to the company, then it will be considered as a outside UAE cost, and it will not have any credit. It will not give any ICV value to the company, and this ICV value is practically very important to arrive at the total score of the company. So, so we have to ensure that they are dealing with. We can see the probability of whether any company is providing such services. So these are some 3 live scenarios which has been provided. Another case scenario which we need to take into consideration is how we can actually maximize our ICV score. There are different factors which are available, as we had explained in the initial, as I explained in the initial format. The company can consider, for if it is a goods manufacturer, it can consider based on the technology that it is adopting, whether it wants to take the industrial transformation index, actually technology transformation index, ITTI score, or it wants to take so based on that 6% is available, which is not related to the anything to do with the financial statement of the company, or sustainability point of view for a service provider, 3% can be added in respect of the score. For the other cases, that is what the planning mechanism is very, very relevant. That means the company has to plan in such a manner that it is buying mostly from the UAE based vendors and mostly from vendors who are having an ICV certification, because their ICV will help to increase the ICV of the company. So this is one part which the company can think about. Second thing is the investment pattern, because investment contribution not only gives the 10%, it also is a contributor for the bonus. So if the investment net book value is doubled, that's a bonus probability available for the company, which the company can think about in respect of vehicle in the business name and things like that. Emirati workforce, gradual increase in the Emirati workforce will help the, is also considered as a criteria for increasing the ICV score. Then the correct recording of the supplier wise cost in the breakup of the supplier wise cost to the extent maximum possible. If it is being done, there is a probability that a certain amount of higher score we can consider for the arrival of the ICV score. So the company has to clearly see the various factors that they can plan to increase the ICV score of the company. The role of the chartered accountants, our role is of prime importance in this ICV certification, because we are in all side, as I had explained by Mr. Sabri initially itself. We are on all side. Actually, we are as a consultant, or we as a CFOs of the different companies, we are there to provide the supplier template, which is actually preparing and validating the financial data. So that part of it is handled. So we can think, if we know the program very well, there may be a number of things that we can actually do in a correct perspective to optimize the score of the company. Second part is actually the certification and attestation, which is done by the certifying body. Most chartered accountants are working for that, so they are in that side also. Advisory role also played by chartered accountants, where they can help to for the businesses to improve the ICV score. There's a lot of contracts from the ADNOC side, or which requires an ICV improvement plan, or from the client side actually, where they want how we can improve the score in respect of that. For that, there's a detailed study pattern of the company's financial statement and things like it is required, and to understand what are the policies, or what are the changes the company has to bring to increase the ICV score. And ensuring proper documentation for the audit trail is being done. Chartered accountants can play a very important role. So we as CA, as not auditors, we are also ICV advisors and strategists. Some common challenges that we are facing when we are doing the ICV certification is misclassification. Sometimes what happened with local importing part of it, sometimes the importing is considered as a part of inside UAE. So this factors we have noted. We are just putting across some major factors that we have noted in our ICV certification, which the client can, as our side we can take into consideration to avoid. Contract vendor wise information capturing. This is a very important factor for the improving the operational efficiency of the company, that we can have the vendor wise detail, which correctly records in the accounting system and ERP. Once we understand the term, once we understand if the ICV certification is relevant for us and it is highly important for the business continuity and growth, and we want to support to the UAE economy, then definitely we have to ERP has to be modified in a manner where we are actually capturing the supplier cost, and based on the supplier cost, we are having the correct numbers recorded. Subcontractors cost, many the factor which we find is actually most of the cases what happened is actually the subcontractors which we are dealing with, the company is dealing with, don't have an ICV certificate. If the subcontractors doesn't have an ICV certificate, it automatically tends to lower the score. Another data gap which has been seen is actually the HR records. So sometimes the payroll records are not available. Payroll record is not, payments are not, properly recorded. The supporting documentation part of it also, we have seen some mislapses. Investment ICV bonus calculation are not tracked well by the companies. So this may be one of the factors which the company can do. Investment also the company can track in a well-versed manner, which they can have the additions in a properly tracked manner. Certifications unavailable for the manufacturer, as we have already gone through ITT and ISO, and for service provider, sustainability policy the company can consider to take it, implement it, and monitor it to have a increase in the ICV score. So some of the practical tips that are there for the businesses which we can take into consideration: kindly plan early. Don't wait for the tender submission that because we are going to submit the tender based on that we will be doing that. Plan it at an early phase so that we are ready now itself for the ICV certification purposes. Choose the supplier with ICV certification, as this point has been emphasized earlier also. So that will improve the ICV certification of the company. HR strategy, Emiratization and training to increase the ICV score. If you have Emiratis, that will definitely increase. It is a call upon the company whether it wants to take it or not. But depending upon the nature, depending upon the resource availability and the policies of the company, they can consider whether they want to do it. And the mandatory aspect of the law also has to be taken into consideration when possible. So when you're actually investing in assets, including investment property, plant and equipment, and software and things like that, capital work in progress, you are actually having the that point of capital. You can have the ICV score for that. ICV, as we have seen for those companies which are taking it very as a part of their continuous monitoring, they are having it to understand. It's not just a tool for. It's not a one-time exercise. It's a continuous monitoring process to understand what all steps the companies have to do to increase the ICV score. Yeah, future of ICV. This has been explained by Mr. Sabri. Operation 300 billion, make it in the Emirates scheme. Project of the 50, the ICV expansion program is there. Integration of ESG reporting and sustainability framework, ITTI. The ministry is giving. It's also known by the name Green ICV to support the concept of ESG and sustainability. The name is National ICV Program, but it also supports the ESG sustainability framework through ITTI, ISO, Green Industry Sustainable Practices. Increasing adoption all across the government and semi-government agencies, and opportunity for businesses to align with the UAE's vision. IC today is a compliance. Tomorrow it will be it is right now itself. If you are taking an IC certification in respect of the client, if you are required to do that, if you have a prerequisite to do that, it will be added as a competitive advantage. We will just go through some of the frequently asked question before we close this thing. Is it mandatory for a law, mandatory from the law perspective for the company to in UAE to participate in the program? It is not mandatory as such. It depends upon your business perspective, your business growth, whether if you are bidding to the government contract or a semi-government contract, or if you are having a client which is a major contributor for that, then based on that the ICV certification is mandated. Are ICV and ISO certification similar? No, ISO is different. ISO is also a part of the scoring mechanism of the ICV. It's not they are totally different things. Is it possible to get a single ICV certificate for a company and its branch? Definitely, it is. It's possible if they are in the same emirate and identical activities and ownership is there. Can corporate service responsibility, if you are having donations, CSR, things like that, or your certain costs which are considered as a part of exclusion, which includes the donations, fines, impairment losses, bad debts. These are all considered as a part of exclusion from the ICV. They are not considered as a part of the. When you're preparing the reconciliation, they are not included in the third party spend or the goods manufacturer section. So they don't form the total cost for the ICV evaluation process. I think that's it from my side, Vijay.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you. Jay, are you there? Okay. Yeah, go ahead, please. Okay, thank you, Sandeep bhai, for this insightful session. And I think if members have some questions also, then we can go for some questions. Otherwise,
question should be there. Very nice
yeah.
session. I can see. But raise your hand. We'll give you the chance to unmute yourself, and then you'll be able to ask the question. But raise your hand for any questions which you have regarding ICV. Something which you will see growing very fast right now in from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. Amit has already told that for one of his assignment, he was lucky that he has one of the, you say, contractor helping him out with the ICV. Otherwise, ICV is something, if you are into business, it will be required. No questions? संदीप भाई, दो चीज हो सकती है, आइदर आपने बहुत अच्छे से बता दिया, दैट इज एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन, एंड
I think one
आई
question
कैन
is
सी
there.
Huzaifa has gone.
दूसरी चीज
Huzaifa
मत बोलिए।
okay, Huzaifa, you can unmute yourself. Don't ask question on the Asia Cup, but any other question you can ask.
Thank you, Jayji. Very nice presentation. Thank you. From last 2 years, we are trying to get the ICV scores and improve on our ICV scores. So I just want to ask, when are we going to go on the nationalization, from the Emiratization, like it has to be for a specific emirate only. So will this be applicable, at the whole emirate level? Because what is the full form of ICV in country value? It's not in Emirat value. So is there a probability or good chances that, at instead of Emirates level, it will be just for say if I have a company in Fujairah, if only I buy in Fujairah, then I get a better score. So this is my question.
Emirate to Emirate, Sandeep bhai, or you think if within UAE, if anyone is purchasing, he will get the ICV score higher, or it will be more higher if you go Emirate by Emirate?
If you are, thank you for the question. Actually, if you are buying within, there is only the bifurcation is with respect to the combination of ICV certification. With respect to your supplier purchases, you are having, it is not classified that you are classified with the which Emirates it belongs to. The same thing is applicable. If you are a manufacturer and you are buying from another manufacturer, another trading company within UAE, you are considered as the same weightage. It is not having a bifurcation between the Emirates. That means whether you purchase from Fujairah or whether to purchase from Dubai or Abu Dhabi, it is having the same weightage.
Okay, since Sabri is around, let's pick a brain on Sabri as well.
Sabri,
what's your thoughts on that?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi sir. Spawndip this side. So just one query.
Pawan, wait
Yeah.
for a second. Still, Sabri has to answer the first question, then I'll come to you. Sabri, please go ahead first, and then Pawan, I know will come to you. Don't worry. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so the question, I think the question is related to the actual combination of the licenses as far as the ICV certification is concerned. We understand the concern from the market, as far as a lot of companies come to us and they say that we have multiple branches across all of the UAE. Why don't you combine all of the branches in just one ICV certification? It's a valid question. Back when we started the program in ADNOC in 2018, it was only at the Abu Dhabi level. Now we're looking at implementation across all of the UAE, hopefully. It's a valid question. The reason why we don't really allow the combination right now is because the participating entities look at each entity based on the license that is registered within their procurement system. So, for example, if you're going to be competing for a tender with ADNOC wants to see, for the most part, the actual economic contribution of that specific entity within the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. And that's the reason why there is no point of in getting certified across all of the UAE because the ICV certificate actually is not going to be used properly that way. It is something that we are currently evaluating. No changes have been made so far, but it's something that we're seriously looking at as far as the combination of licenses from different Emirates in one ICV certification. So we'll hopefully keep you updated on that in the near future. Thank you.
So more simplification is on the way if we can do a consolidation of licenses. That is something on cards. Dilip does not want to come on the screen, but Dilip ji, please go ahead with your question.
Hello.
Dilip ji,
good evening. Yeah, good evening. First of all, very informative and thank you for this insightful session on ICV. I have two questions. One is, how will the corporate tax expense be treated for ICV scoring purposes as an expense? And second is, Mr. Nair, you spoke about the management accounts being eligible for ICV certification when the period of the new entities and of the financial statements is more than 9 months. So will these financial statements be considered as special purpose financial statements? One, and on a broader level, are general purpose only allowed for ICV or special purpose financial statements can be considered for ICV certification purposes? That's it. Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Sandeep, you want to go ahead?
Yeah,
Or?
this corporate tax, all taxes are excluded from the computation of these expenses, taxes, penalty, all this. Taxes also considered as a part of exclusion in respect of this. So that's the first part of it. So we are not considering that as a part of the third party spend or the goods manufacturing cost. The second part of it is actually management accounts. Management accounts for a 10 months company, for a 9 months financial state management accounts is allowed. There's no requirement for getting it audited. If it is a special purpose financial statement that is prepared, then that special purpose financial statement has to be forwarded to the ministry. If it is more than 10 months, if they're preparing a special purpose financial statement, it has to be provided to the ministry for approval purposes. And based on ministry's approval, it can be considered, the financial statement can be considered for the ICV certification purposes.
So approval will be required from the ministry. That is the answer, Dilipji, for you. Rajendra, you can go ahead with your question. You have to unmute yourself. We have given you the power. You are not unmuted yourself. So please unmute yourself and then go for the question. Sir, you have to unmute. Lovely smile.
Sir, you are still on mute.
You're on mute, sir.
Sir, sorry. One more time, you have to unmute yourself. One more time. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Sir, still we can't hear you, sir.
Now you can say, sir.
Now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so being partnered with ICV for the last 5 years, I thought I just come in and show my face. Thank you, Mr. Sabri, for the presentation to our members. And Sandeep, all the best, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Most of the points covered. I think I just had a point to clarify on the first person's query regarding why Emirates are not separately considered. Actually, his question was why we are considering this as a national value, why we are not taking it as an emirate value. If I understood the question right.
You are right, sir. The question was this: why emirate? Why not national? Why we are going emirate Fujairah to Fujairah or Fujairah to UAE? If the value will be same, I get high score or not?
Yeah. So let's see, this is a national program, and they are looking at the UAE economy as a whole. They are not concerned about the emirate economy. So that is the reason why we are considering all Emirates to have the same value of 10% for third-party service providers and 150% for the industrial and service providers for manufacturing. Now we ask our clients to encourage and ask all their vendors to get ICV certified so that they can improve their score. And also more members or more companies will come into the program. Another point which I just on the presentation, somewhere we missed to state why why imports and outside suppliers are giving zero value. We can see that in all the spreadsheets, if the vendor is from outside the country or if they are from free zones, they are considered as outside unless they have an ICV certificate.
Correct. Yeah.
ICV certificate can be taken only by companies who are having licenses locally and having their audit from UAE certified auditors. So we had many cases where branches in free zones of multinational entities, they had audit from their head office and they were not doing audit within UAE. So 2-3 cases we had to reject because of that. Many times we went back to the committee and asked, and then we got the confirmation, yes, we cannot take that. So we had to reject. So this point, I think the finance managers should be aware of.
So local audit is one. I
Yeah, it
want
should
to
be
ask
from a local auditor who is having a local certificate. Yes.
perfect, sir. Since both two companies are here who is doing into IC certification, one is IVAS on my left, on my right, Creston Menon, Rajendra sir. How many clients for ICV you will do free from among our members? You want to give a commitment saying, okay, three clients from our fraternity will be given free services of ICV, either IVAS or Creston.
See,
The
that is
ministry is already giving a lot of incentives to SMEs, and that is why Sabri is also laughing on that question.
see,
Thank you very much.
that is not encouraged actually. For local SMEs, Emirati SMEs, we have a commitment from the with the ministry that we will do it at the rate specified by them, which is 500 dirhams. And last year we had many. I think this year they are not allocated any. We didn't get any allocations. Similarly, last few weeks before the meeting, it was also requested that for F&B companies, we should give a concession on the audit fees.
Okay.
Is it, Mr. Sabri? I just thought my members should know that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that is
Because
correct. As far as the
yeah,
SMEs are concerned, we do have a reduced pricing for the national SMEs. We also have the new initiatives that are set to encourage companies in particular sectors. So that's the F&B. Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why, the reason why we cannot go with the low cost or discounted is that the time involved and the competence of the people who have to work on it is very high. And even minor mistakes, if the team will make it, it can either lead to the company getting a higher score or lower score, which can be disadvantageous to either to the same company or to the competitors.
Perfect. One question has come and someone has written, our member Mitesh Mehta. If two group company subsidiaries apply separately for ICV certification, two companies, both are group companies, has applied for ICV certification. One is showing a higher amortization ratio, that is higher employment in terms of local population, and but lower local spend. But spend locally is lower. Higher amortization, lower spend. The other shows strong local manufacturing. Manufacturing is local, very strong, but minimal amortization. Amortization is very minimum. Okay. How should management approach this? Whether they should go for a consolidation certification, or they should go for a separate certification to
No,
maximize
we cannot go for consolidated because, as you told, that it is two different entities, not even branch and head office. If it
Right.
was a branch and head office, there was a scope of combining it. If it was in the same right and the same activities. If they are two
Perfect.
different companies, we cannot combine it. So it has to go separately.
Super.
Yeah,
Very
And
good.
actually, those two scores are not complementary to each other. Actually, a manufacturer can get higher score by having more Emiratis. Similarly, a third-party supplier who is doing more of imports, even if they have more Emiratis, they will get the bonus for that. So
Lovely.
none of
Sandeep,
this, none of the areas are complementary to each other. Actually, each are separately evaluated.
lovely.
Yeah.
You
Another
that's
one point is actually this from 2025 onwards, any year ending, you should have a separate financial statement, audited
Yeah,
financial statement for the
auditor
company.
statements are required. So, for
Yeah.
example, we have an head office and 5 branches. Maybe earlier they used to make one audited financial statement for the whole company, including the branches, and they used to provide the split trial balance, as we call it, for the purpose of ICV. And since that led to a lot of adjustments and manipulations from January 2025, it has been decided that any financial year ending after 31 December 2024 should be supported by independent or standalone branch-wise audited financial statements.
Thank you, son. Thank you, Ryan,
The
sir. Thank you.
consolidation is not allowed. That is also separate. Only they have to go. They may have to think about how they want to include the amortization in the manufacturing segment to to improve the score if they are required.
Super. I can see Vishal's hand has gone up. Before Vishal, I can see one question has come in. Again, it says how to incorporate, and one more question has come. Let me first go to that question. How to incorporate ICV requirement in the monthly reporting? How to incorporate ICV requirement in the monthly reporting? Punita Prabhu, This question is coming from. Even monthly reporting, can we incorporate it, and how to incorporate
Yeah,
it?
practically what I will say is that this template which is available, they will have to fill it up every month, see how the data is getting classified, and see where they can improve during the subsequent months. That will be the benefit.
Localization of the local, the company has to consider all the factors which are there on a strategic level. They have to see on how much amount they are actually spending to the local economy in respect of that. How much local spend is happening? Is there some purchases? Is there some significant item which are, they are buying from free zone, or they are having from the outside UAE, which they want to improve? So that's one factor for a company based on the importance of the ICV score that they need to consider. From their monthly reporting, so they have to strategize in respect of that.
Perfect. One question, Sabri, you are sitting there, and our member has specifically said this question is for Mr. Sabri. When does the department, that is MOIT, plans to add more service providers as certifying body? So they are looking for certifying bodies are already there. When you are planning to expand it to give more hands in terms
We
of
have 25 now, I think.
25. So
Yeah,
when to expect 25 getting added?
yeah. I was expecting that question to come, especially when the room is filled with accounting specialists from various accounting firms. We currently do not have any openings that have been announced for additional certifying bodies, but we are experiencing a rapid increase in the number of certifications year on year. So I suspect that very soon we will probably need to add more certifying bodies, but no official announcement has been made. But you can always, follow. You can always follow me. You can follow my social media accounts, or follow the ministry social media accounts to learn about any sort of openings that might be coming.
Perfect. I mean, looks positive. Follow him, and you will get the update soon. Vishal bhai, please go ahead. You seem to be coming from office directly asking.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay bhai, for organizing such nice event. Thank you, Sandeep bhai, for your nice presentation.
Thank you,
The question is like, if audit report is qualified, and how it going to impact the ICV score, and what will be the latest guidelines? Like, even though it is a qualified audit report, we can maximize the score. What will be the process?
Yeah. So thank you, Vishal bhai. The thing is that we have to consider what type of a qualification is there in the audit report. If the qualification is related to any item which is related to the cost, the P&L item in respect of that, or which is actually having a significant impact on the ICV score, then it may not be allowed. The entire decision with respect to qualification is with ministry. Ministry is having an ICV committee meetings each Thursday, where the ministry discusses with all the certifying body. Rajendra sir is also one of the frequent speaker in that. So we actually discuss in respect of that. With respect to all the qualification part of it is being discussed in that meeting. If there is a if there is a bank confirmation that has not been received, or bad debt that has not been considered, these matters doesn't have an impact on the ICV certification. So these matters are all allowed in respect of ICV certification. But if there is some matter which is affecting the cost, or in case, so it depends upon the gravity of the qualification, or the gravity of the the wordings that the auditor has used. Maybe in certain cases, the ministry goes a step ahead and asks the auditor whether they can give a go ahead to go with the ICV certification. According to their view, the cost is correct, and based on that, they can proceed with the ICV certification. Sabri sir, you want to add something?
No, I'm glad I have you with me on the call today. Yeah. So you covered it. Thank you, Sandeep.
Sabri sir, your smile says it all. But one question is coming your way. Interesting question. It says that for some industries like hospitality, everything cannot be locally procured. You have to depend on the world. For hospitality industry, maybe this member is coming from hospitality and says most are coming from import. So putting a standard way of evaluation impacts their score. Do you think is it possible to have the scoring system based on industry, depending on industry requirements?
We wish we could have it. It's a very good question, and we wish we could have it based on industries. It would, I think, overcomplicate the formula. And there's one thing that everybody should be reminded of. Usually, ICV is relative, right? So it's not an absolute value; it's a relative value that takes a look at the contribution to the economy, but also relative to the competitors within that specific sector. So, if you look at the specific industry like hospitality, that's the one we're discussing. The company's probably going to be competing with other companies within its sector that also have, or they have similar spending patterns, and they show similar behavior as far as their purchases, investments, and so on. So we don't believe that changing the formula for a specific industry would make any value, simply because all of the companies within the same industry would still be evaluated the same way.
Perfect. Thank you, Sabri sir. And one last question to both the speakers. And trust me, this is the question which comes in every session, and every speaker has to address it. Will the presentation be shared to our members?
Yeah, no problem with that. Yeah, bhai. That will be shared.
Thank you, Sandeep bhai. How about Mr. Sabri? Can your presentation be shared with our members?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sharing the presentation after the meeting this evening.
Thank you very much for lovely session.
Thank you,
And I
Jay
can
bhai, for asking this. You also made my life easy because this question is coming to me after the sessions, and sometimes, I'm the clueless as well, and sometimes we don't get the permission. So thank you for that. And with that, also, I just want to add one more thing. I just want to tell the
Uh,
members, which we
Amit,
already
Amit,
mentioned.
Amit bhai, one more
Yeah,
question was there. Actually, that is a good question. Actually, Jay bhai, can you take
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
also?
Please, sure, sure. Of course, it's in the chat.
Manish has asked the question. Client involved in trading and supply of fresh produce do buy a lot of produce from local farms. So fresh produce, basically agriculture products we are talking about, buying locally from local farms. Conceptually, these products are classical example of in-country production. So obviously, agriculture is happening here, buying here. However, since these farms hardly maintain proper accounts or interest to spend on ICV certification cost, the client as a buyer is not able to take the benefit to increase ICV score. Maybe because of their lack of understanding, maybe because their limitations of funds, they are not able to do it. These are agriculture people. Is the ministry considering ways to help business benefits for such purchases? Agriculture produce, done locally, everything, lack of documents, lack of accounts. What exactly ministry is doing for the agriculture?
Well, the thing that we've done recently, if if you take a look at the latest guidelines, we actually have a default score for farms, which is a high, 80%. That's the first thing. If you purchase from a local farmer or a local farm, the purchase value is multiplied by a very high 80% ICV. That's the first thing that we've done. As far as the documentation, the actual transaction has to be done in a legal way. There's got to be some sort of a form of documentation of the actual purchase. But if if there are missing documents, there's not much that we can do really to record the transaction. So there's got to be documentation of the transaction with the local farms. But we're happy to take a look at the documentation to see if it can be accepted. We have a strategy to prioritize or help the local farmers. So we'll be happy to take a look at the documentation.
Perfect. Ministry is open, Manish bhai. If you are okay with your documents, go ahead. They can consider it. Lovely question. Thank you, Vijay bhai. We could have missed it, but
Yeah,
thank
bhai,
you very
one point that I want to put across is actually, previously such type of things were discussed in the technical committee, and technical committee is very, very lenient when it comes to the, farmers' perspective, and ministry is there to support, and Mr. Sabri is there. Definitely, the team is there to support in respect of that. So they have to approach the ministry in this angle.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My job is done. Let me go back to secretary of the chapter. Amit bhai, back to you. Go ahead with
Thank
the
you
closing.
so much, Jay bhai. And first of all, big thanks to both the speakers for breaking it down so practically. I was seeing Sandeep bhai's slide also. He was just going and in a part and very practically, and likewise Mr. Sabri as well. And I also want to say that this ICVs just can give you. It's not just for the certification purpose. It can give you a competitive edge as well. So, for example, if you are ICV certified and some of the times you want to win those tenders which came to me from the EDNOC also. So they were just considering the firms which were having the ICV high scores like that. So it's not just for the certification purpose, it's giving you a competitive edge as well. And one request which I was making, a lot of members are also asking for the CP hours as well. So we already mentioned this earlier as well. So if you attended this session 75%, then only you will be eligible to get that CP hours. So that's it from my side. Big thanks to Vijay Bhai, our EXCOM members, for being instrumental in organizing the sessions. Both the speakers, Mr. Sabri and our own Sandeep Bhai. Thanks to chairman as well to appearing in the last moment and conducting the sessions and taking the questions with the member. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much, all the members, of course. And yeah, Jay Bhai, you want to add something?
No, I don't want to add something. I want to hear from Vijay as well. Vijay, what is your thought? You want concluding remark before we close this session today?
Actually, I just want to especially thank you, Mr. Sabri, to take out his evening 6:30 to 8:30 to come along with us. Sandeep is our own insider member, but Sabri has taken a special effort to come and address our members. And being from the ministry, backbone on this program, coming and authoritatively talking on the topic is a great privilege for us actually to be you in our platform, and our members are all already responding very positively, and we had more than 200 members attended the seminar. So it's a so thank you, special thank you for you, Mr. Sapri, for being with us and addressing our members. That's the thing which I wanted to tell.
Thank you, Vijay. Sabri sir, I will take the liberty to ask you one last question, and that is directly from you, not from any of the people. At 8:30, this is already 8:30. How can you look so sharp, so fresh on the screen? 8:30 in the evening.
Thank you, thank you. I'm not as fresh as you, as it seems on the screen right now. I'm getting a little bit sleepy, so I can't wait to get home and have some hot fresh food and go back to sleep.
Yeah, one point that I want to add, Jai, if I can actually. The thing is that, Mr. Sabri is the person who is leading the ICV committee, which has got all the 25 certifying body, which comes on each Thursday for a meeting, technical committee, where they discuss about all the qualifications and all matters in respect of that. And he has been, Rajendra sir will also be definitely agreeing to that. He is never, partial to something, or the independence part of it is maintained in respect of that. And it's a very fair deal with respect to fair amount of, time that he has done, and he's the person who you have to reach up to if you want to get the ICV certification, register as an ICV certifying body also. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Loved it. Thank you very much. Enjoy
Thank
your
you, Mr. Sabri. Thanks to Sandeep. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.